And it says from Maximus, self-mastery, immune to any passing whim. Can we just talk about that a little bit? Because I've been getting into this idea of Stoicism, and it's not new. And I took Latin in college, and we read a lot of the Stoics, and you had raised me reading a lot of different types of literature. Mm-hmm. But now I think as a 34-year-old man who's gonna turn 35 this July, I'm thinking about a lot of things in my life. Yep. And this is a great book, I think, for me to look to and to make some decisions. But I'm learning a lot. And the biggest thing I think I'm learning is that you taught me so much of this when I was young.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me that Stoicism has become so popular. I look back and I was a Stoic when I was in college. I called myself a Socratic. I was a philosopher and read everything that was written from that era in history, and all that before I actually became a follower of Jesus. So I was a follower of Socrates in many ways before I was a follower of Jesus. But I actually think that they really dovetailed. That Socrates prepared me for Jesus.
I love it.
But let's go back to that quote.
Let's go back to the quote. I didn't know if you were going to say something there.
No. I just wanted.
From Maximus, a part of this book, and it says, self-mastery, immune to any passing whim.
What's interesting to me is that probably 10 years ago, I was writing on self-mastery, and I was speaking at this event where I'm at this event speaking with Jack Welch, Tony Blair, Condoleezza Rice, other world leaders.
Years ago, right?
15 years ago.
Okay.
And there was a speaker that was backstage, and he asked me what I was going to speak about, and I said self-mastery. And because he was a person of faith, it actually set him back a little bit. He goes, self-mastery, that sounds dangerous, because is it really supposed to be self-mastery?
Right.
And what I thought was interesting is that I considered him to be a person who exhibited tremendous self-mastery. And what happens sometimes, especially if you're a person of faith, is that you almost have this magical view of personal transformation, where you just sort of give your life to God or give your life to Jesus and everything works out. And then you don't need to do anything personally.
Right.
But self-mastery is really critical, because it's really about taking control of your inner world. I mean, most people spend their lives trying to have control over their external world. And the external world is the one world you don't have control over. It's uncertain, it's chaotic, it's mysterious, it's unknown, and it's out of your control. And most of the stress and anxiety people feel is because they're trying to exert their mastery on the external world.
Okay.
While not spending their energy, their life, getting mastery over their inner world, their thoughts, their emotions, their decision-making.
How do you actually gain mastery over your thoughts and your decision-making? I guess decision-making, yes, don't make bad decisions. That one's pretty black and white. I find a way to make that one gray. But how do you actually have self-mastery over your thoughts and your emotions? Because I think, we were talking about this with one of our really good friends, and they have an amazing daughter who he was talking to us and explaining to us that she has these receptors, these emotional receptors, and she does not have good filters on them. So they're having to help her basically gain control and self-mastery over her emotions, so that when she hugs a little kid, because she's 3, she hugs 5 times harder than the kid would hug her, because she's experiencing all of this excitement and all of this emotion, and it comes out in it manifests in a very physical way, and oftentimes very almost borderline violent. Not actually violent. She's not a violent human, but she's so intense, too intense, that it's almost like violent, because they're little kids. And we were talking, how do you? And they were trying to teach her. They're teaching her mechanisms and giving her like kind of a toolbox on how to control her emotions and how to control the way she's feeling. But how do you do that as an adult? Because we there was another quote on the page before, and I really resonated with it. And it talks about moral freedom, and it says to always be the same man, unchanged in sudden pain, in a loss of a child, in lingering sickness, to see clearly in his living example that a man can combine intensity and relaxation. So how do you gain self-mastery? What are tools to do that? Can you give me tools?
Yeah, I can. I think I can be surprisingly helpful.
Oh, practical. You're always helpful.
And,
not always practical.
Here's one thing. You have to establish a principle
right,
that your emotions do not give you the right to your actions.
Okay.
So just because you're feeling something doesn't legitimize acting on that feeling. If you really want to embrace both the principles of Jesus and the principles of Stoicism, is that you have mastery over your emotions. And most people who lack mastery, this is their principal area of weakness.
Okay.
And if you're angry, be angry, but don't act on that anger.
Okay.
If you're jealous, understand that you're jealous, but don't act on that emotion. And what happens when a person, it's tricky because in our culture, we say, well, I need to be honest. I need to be true to who I am.
Right.
And so then when you feel something, it's an honest emotion. So you're just being honest. You're just being true. You're just being yourself, as if your emotions have mastery over your actions. See, and when you are acting on your emotions, you do not have self-mastery. When you experience those emotions fully, but those emotions do not control your actions, that's when you have self-mastery.